Did you know that nearly 65% of marriages experience significant strain due to uncontrolled anger? Quite a startling statistic, isn't it? And it certainly has far-reaching implications. Anger, when not properly understood and managed, can wreak havoc in relationships, causing untold emotional harm, breakdowns in communication, and in worst-case scenarios, it might even lead to divorce. Picture this. Imagine two people bound together by love and shared dreams, gradually drifting apart because of unchecked anger. What was once a safe haven of love and understanding becomes a battleground of harsh words and silent treatments. The emotional harm inflicted in these instances can be immense and in some cases irreversible. And what about communication? Open, honest communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. But anger can choke this vital channel, leading to misunderstandings and resentment. When anger is the primary mode of communication, it becomes tough to express love, concern, or even discuss everyday matters. It's like trying to navigate through a thick fog. You can't see where you're going, and it's easy to lose your way. And then there's the ultimate consequence: divorce. When anger becomes the constant third wheel in a marriage, the bond between partners can weaken to the point of breaking. It's an unfortunate reality many couples face when anger is allowed to take root and grow unchecked. But here's the good news. Anger in itself is not the enemy. It's a natural human emotion, and when understood and managed effectively, it can even serve as a catalyst for growth and improvement. So let's dive deeper and explore what's really behind this anger and how it can be effectively managed. In the coming scenes, we'll unmask the real causes of anger, understand the unmet needs that often hide behind it, and learn how to communicate to improve our relationships. Because understanding your anger is the first step towards preventing it from destroying your relationship. What if I told you that anger is rarely the root problem, but rather a symptom of underlying issues? Yes, you heard it right. It's like an alarm bell indicating that something is amiss. Let's take a common scenario. Imagine you arrive home late from work and your spouse is furious. You might think they're just angry because you're late, but the real cause could be deeper. Perhaps they were worried about your safety, or maybe they felt neglected and unimportant. Here, the unmet need is reassurance and attention. Another frequent cause of anger is stress. Let's say your partner snaps at you for forgetting to take out the trash. Is it really about the trash? Probably not. More than likely, it's the stress from their job or financial worries or even a lack of sleep. The trash was just the last straw on an already overloaded camel's back. Hurt feelings too often masquerade as anger. Imagine a situation where your spouse didn't include you in an important decision. You might react with anger, but what's really at play is a sense of betrayal and hurt. You needed to feel included and valued, and when that didn't happen, anger flared up. Identifying these root causes is key to managing anger. It's like treating an illness. You wouldn't just tackle the symptoms without understanding the disease itself, right? By recognizing the real causes of anger, you can address the underlying issues, whether they're unmet needs, stress, or hurt feelings. But remember, it's not about playing the blame game. It's about understanding and empathy. By acknowledging the true sources of anger, you can initiate conversations that lead to solutions. It's about saying, I understand you're angry because you were worried when I came home late. Let's discuss how we can avoid this in the future. Understanding the real causes of anger is the first step towards healthier communication and stronger relationships. It's about peeling back the layers of anger to reveal the unmet needs, the stress, or the hurt feelings underneath. And once you've done that, you're well on your way to better managing anger and strengthening your relationship. Often anger is a cry for help, signaling that certain needs are not being met. This is a truth we often overlook in the heat of our heated arguments and fiery confrontations. Anger, you see, is a complex emotion. It's not just a spontaneous reaction to a situation or a person, but rather a response to deeper unmet needs. Let's consider a case study. Imagine a woman who frequently finds herself angered by her partner's lack of involvement in household chores. Her anger, while seemingly directed at the dirty dishes or unvacuumed floors, may actually be a plea for respect and partnership. She needs to feel valued and equal in her relationship, and her partner's lack of participation in the home environment can make her feel disregarded and alone. Or picture a man who constantly feels irked by his wife's spending habits. His anger might not be about the money itself, but about his need for security and assurance. The unchecked spending could trigger his fears of financial instability, making him feel unsafe and threatened. In both these scenarios, the anger is not the root problem. It is merely a symptom, a sign that something deeper is going wrong. The real issue lies in the unmet needs for respect, equality, security, and reassurance. When these needs are ignored or dismissed, they can fuel a vicious cycle of anger and resentment. But when recognized and addressed, they can open the door to understanding, empathy, and connection. Take the woman who's angry about household chores. If her partner acknowledges her need for respect and equality and starts sharing the household duties, her anger would likely dissipate. Similarly, the man who's upset about his wife's spending could find relief if she understands his need for financial security and reassures him through responsible spending. Addressing these needs directly can be a game changer in how we handle anger. Instead of letting it damage our relationships, we can use it as a tool to deepen our understanding of ourselves and our partners, ultimately enhancing our bonds and fostering healthier, happier relationships. Good communication is the antidote to anger in relationships. Picture this: two individuals, each with their unique perspectives and emotions, trying to coexist harmoniously. Sounds challenging, right? This is where the power of effective communication comes into play. It's not about winning arguments or making your point heard the loudest. It's about understanding and being understood. First up, active listening. It's a simple concept that can make a world of difference. Imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument. Instead of thinking about your next rebuttal, try to really hear what the other person is saying. Understand their feelings and perspective. You might be surprised at how this can diffuse anger and lead to a more constructive conversation. Next, expressing feelings constructively. We've all heard it before, "I'm fine," when clearly things aren't fine. It's important to express how you feel, but in a way that promotes understanding rather than escalating anger. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try using I statements like, "I feel unheard when." This helps to open up a dialogue rather than placing blame. Finally, seeking to understand before being understood. This is a tall order. It requires putting aside your own emotions and genuinely trying to comprehend what the other person is experiencing. For example, if your partner seems unusually snappy, instead of reacting with anger, ask them about their day, their feelings, their stressors. This approach can often uncover underlying issues that may be the real cause of the anger. Let's consider Jane and John. They used to fight daily about trivial issues until they decided to try these communication strategies. Now, instead of arguing about unwashed dishes, Jane expresses her feelings. "I feel overwhelmed when I come home to a messy kitchen." John, actively listening, understands her stress, and they work out a solution together. This way, they've turned a potential argument into a conversation and a problem into a solution. With effective communication, we can turn anger from a relationship destroyer into a relationship builder. Misunderstanding anger can have devastating consequences on relationships. The danger lies not in anger itself, but in the failure to understand and address it properly. Ignoring or misinterpreting anger can escalate conflicts, creating a snowball effect that damages relationships beyond repair. Let's consider a case study. Imagine a couple, Jane and John. Jane often gets angry because John forgets important dates. John, misinterpreting her anger as mere nagging, dismisses it. But what Jane really feels is neglected and unappreciated. Her anger is a cry for attention and care, not a mere complaint about forgotten dates. The misunderstanding escalates the conflict, pushing them further apart. Misunderstanding anger is like pouring gasoline on a fire. It intensifies the flames of conflict, burning bridges of communication and connection. But when we strive to understand the root of anger, we can extinguish these flames and rebuild those bridges. Understanding anger, it's not just about saving relationships, it's about enriching them. So we've explored the impact of anger on relationships, its real causes, the unmet needs behind it, and how to communicate to improve relationships. In our journey, we've unmasked anger, revealing it as more than just a raw, destructive force. It's a signal, a signpost pointing to deeper needs and desires that aren't being met. We've also looked at the danger of misunderstanding anger and how it can wreak havoc on our relationships if left unchecked. The key takeaway is communication. Open, honest dialogue can diffuse anger, reveal underlying issues, and foster understanding between partners. It's not about winning an argument, but about nurturing a relationship. So I encourage you, don't let your anger sit in the driver's seat. Apply the strategies we've discussed. Reach out, express, understand, and most importantly, listen. Remember, understanding and managing anger is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take brings you closer to healthier, happier relationships.